Shalom, shalom, everyone. Welcome to another segment here at Beulah and Typical Farim. This is the second portion or part of the class where we go over the um, shared portion, the Torah shared portions, where we comment on things that we were reading or want advice or questions on, and we just discuss these scriptures with one another. For those that are on right now, and for those that's watching later, please, if you like, share any scripture in Torah. And do we want to hold off for a little bit, Prince, on before we go into prayer?
We can open up with prayer.
All right.
I guess I got to make prayer today, right?
So that.
Abi, Wabetenu, Salaklanu, Kitot Kol Yisrael, Kitot Lifneata, Abi. Our Father, please forgive all of Yisrael, all the sins of the children of Yisrael. Those who awaken from their slumber and their desires to walk closer to you. For you are the power of all living. You hold life and death in the palm of your hands, and it is nothing but for a second for you to cause a soul to live or to die. So we honor you, we worship and we praise and we acknowledge that there is no strength like you. There is no power like you. There is no might like your might. Truly, you reign supreme. You reign in the heavens above, the earth beneath, under the waters underneath of the earth. There is none like unto thee. So in all the doings that you have to do throughout your daily, you are still mindful of us, and we are grateful. Please continue to uplift us, your people, Yisrael. Continue to forgive us of our sins and our iniquities and cause us to improve in our minds, in our spirituality, in our behavior, in our desires to walk right before you. Help us to improve, Father. For that is the total journey of us, trapped in this flesh, desiring to maintain our glory that only you can give. Help us to represent you in this existence until we have done enough to be pleasing in your sight and you raise us to glory. Unto thee, O great King, we humble ourselves now and forevermore. Thank you, Abi, for hearing our prayers. Unto you, we all say, Toda, Abi, Abi, Toda Rabbah. Thank you, Father, for hearing our prayers.
Basada, Torah, for that prayer. Torah for that prayer. All right, you all. We are going to resume. Those that just tuned in, this is the portion of class where we come together and we bring forth a commandment from the Torah. We bring forth the commandment from the Torah. For those that's listening, please post your commandment. Find your commandment if you can right now, and post the commandment from the Torah, not the top 10 commandments, or not the 10 commandments, I should say, but a commandment from the Torah. And we will read it, we will post it, and we will discuss it. And also, let us know your comments on the Torah scripture that you're going to post. All right, so we're going to start with those here. Do you have yours? All right. My Isha.
Shabbat Shalom Lekulam. My commandment is going to be coming from Wayikra 26, 2 through 4, which is Leviticus chapter 26, verse 2 through 4. Then it reads, Ye shall keep my Sabbaths and reverence my sanctuary. I am Adonai. If you walk in my statutes and keep my commandments and do them, then I will give you rain in due season, and the land shall yield her an increase, and the trees of the field shall yield their fruit. I chose this commandment because when it comes down to obedience to our Creator, it's obedience not just in our minds, but it's truly obedience in actions. And specifically with land, if you don't let the land rest, the land will not be able to yield what it is you put in it because you've overworked it. Like everything in this world, if you overwork it, it will show you that it can be burnt out. You can mess up your soil. You can mess up your spirit to the point where it feels like there's no return. So I believe that when it comes down to resting for the Most High, it's not just resting and just laying down, but it's resting everything, resting our land, resting our minds, resting those things that can be overworked. There are people that have passed away from stroke at a young age because they've overworked their bodies. And I just believe it's important to follow what the Most High said. I believe everything he said has a deeper meaning that we can either understand in our years if it be his will, or we'll never understand the depth of everything the Most High has given us. And that's my commandment. Wayikra 26, 2 through 4.
May the Most High be praised. Torah Rabbah. Rosh, we having a little Wi-Fi issues here in Philly. The weather is pretty bad, so I may be in and out. I don't know yet. I just lost signal just now while Yaisha was speaking. But we're going to do this as long as we can. If, however, the Creator extends us that opportunity, we're going to do it. So let's move forward. Torah Rabbah.
All right. Salam. Is it anyone that's on line right now? Do you have any commandments that you would like for us to go to? Any commandments from the Torah that you would like for us to go to?
Sis, we will definitely deal with that question. Can you overdo good deeds? We'll definitely deal with that question in a moment. Torah Rabbah. Very good question. Are there any commandments in the script, in the people in the audience? That's what you just asked, right, Roche?
Okay. Is there anyone present that has a commandment for us?
You know there's a delay, so they'll probably be typing in a minute.
Mm-hmm. All right.
There's one.
There is one. All right. The Midbar 19 and 13. And it reads, Whosoever touches the dead body of any man that is dead, and purifieth not himself, defieth the tabernacle of the Most High, and that soul shall be cut off from Israel, Yisrael, because the water of separation was not sprinkled upon him. He shall be unclean. His uncleanness is not yet upon him. All right. When you're able to, just waiting on a explanation on it. Any thoughts on that? Anyone in the room? All right. As we wait, Princess, are you able to go right now? You're muted if you're speaking.
Oh, I'm sorry. I said Cain, absolutely. It's a room full of us. But I think my sister wife just put her explanation in if y'all want to read that first.
Okay. Explanation. The Most High says, whoever doesn't cleanse himself of that dead body situation defies the Most High's tabernacle. The Most High values our spiritual health and body.
You know, that's something that needs to be talked about a little bit. There are many who ignore that commandment as if it's not there, dealing with the dead bodies. As if there's no commandment that tells us not to approach a dead body, not to touch a dead body, not to touch the bone of a dead person, not to walk on the grave of a dead person, not to go into a house where someone has died. You're not supposed to do these things. Well, if you do them, you're unclean. But let's get this clear for a minute. Unclean doesn't mean sin. So a lot of people confuse those two. Just because you're unclean don't mean you've sinned. But if you're not cleansed, once you go into any of those ways by defiling yourself, you go through a process to become clean again. The process is you're supposed to be sprinkled on the third day and the seventh day, 2 times. On the third day and the seventh day, after you have become unclean for those reasons. If you're not sprinkled on the third day and the seventh day, after you have become unclean for those reasons, you are perpetually unclean. And anything that you touch is unclean. Not just what you sit on, but whatever you touch is unclean. And you find that in the 19th chapter, at the end of the chapter. That law is a very, very difficult law to follow because you never know who is or who is not unclean. Therefore, you should always be mindful to ask the Most High for forgiveness. This is one of the reasons why when we approach the Creator in prayer, we ask the Creator for permission to approach His throne because we don't know if we have entered into a house. I'm not saying building because it particularly says house. This is why we ask the Most High for permission before we make prayer, because you may have entered into a house, or you may have touched someone who's unclean, or you may have touched a bone or the grave or a dead body. You may have touched those things. And you did not sprinkle yourself on the third day or the seventh day. And it may be out of ignorance that you didn't do these things because you didn't know. And the people who taught you this way of life did not teach you these instructions. Therefore, you don't know. But when you come into the understanding of the Creator, you say, Creator, I want to serve you. And nothing don't seem to be going right for you in your life, in your service to the Creator. And you start to wondering, well, maybe I shouldn't be doing this. Maybe I should be doing that. And maybe I should be over here doing that. Maybe you should go to a learned individual in the ways of the Most High and have a conversation with them and speak with them so that they can walk with you and talk with you about your daily activities and introduce you to the oneness of the Most High. Because a lot of times, teachers don't teach this truth. And a lot of times, by you not knowing, you're wondering why things are going a certain way in your life. It's not that the Most High is holding you accountable or punishing you. Let's say that. Punishing you because that sin could be worthy of a lot of things like death. You done been to the house of worship and you're unclean and don't even know you're unclean. Roche spoke about that earlier, sinning through ignorance. You don't even know you're unclean, but yet you're unclean. And you hooping and hollering, singing and dancing and shouting, and you're really trying to get it created the best of you. But he will only let you go so far, raise so high, be blessed so much. And in your desires, you want so much more out of life, but you're not receiving it. It just may be that you're being held back because you're unclean. And you haven't shown the Most High the proper respect by asking him to forgive you of your uncleanness. That just may be what it is. That you haven't shown the Father the proper respect by asking him to forgive you of your uncleanness, your iniquities, and your abominations. Because clearly, if you read that, the 19th chapter explains to you that you become unclean. It's a spiritual and a physical uncleanness so that you don't defile the tabernacle of the Most High, which is in the midst of you, or which is among you. But yet we'll go and sit up in a house of worship in an unclean condition, in an unclean state. We'll be around clean people, considering ourselves clean people, and we're really defiled people. A lot of times we don't understand. But we need to take the humility role, the humble role, and humble ourselves before the Creator when we learn things like this, ask for his forgiveness, and be cleansed. Now, say your 7 days have already passed and there is no way that you can do it and still abide by the rule. The law says on the 3rd day and the 7th day, you must be sprinkled, and you have to be sprinkled with the waters of purification. So the 3rd day and the 7th day is already passed. One would ask, well, Prince, what do I do then? I would say that's between you and the Father. Go ask him to have forgiveness and mercy. And if you mean it in your soul when you ask of him, he will grant you what your request is. If you sincerely mean that in your soul when you approach, because you didn't know. Tell him you didn't know. I didn't know. Had I known, Father, it would have been different, and you could be telling the truth. But he'll know. He'll know whether you're telling the truth or not. So ask it of the Creator and see what he says, see what he does. And then do a fast and do a prayer and meditation for a period of time. Sacrifice something to offer back to him, in the place of you sinning against him, or not you sinning. Well, you could sin if you went into that house of worship and you was unclean. That could be counted as a sin against you. But just to be in a state of uncleanness is not not a sin. So take that to the Father and ask the Most High for forgiveness. And if you are preparing to go to a funeral, preparing to touch a dead body, or preparing to go into a house that is unclean, you should already have waters of purification prepared to the best of your ability, so that if these things come upon you, you can go through the spiritual ritual of cleansing yourself. I know you don't, and you make sure you mention this to the Creator. Don't try to fool yourself, and don't try to fool nobody that you're teaching. We do not have the original or the prescribed waters of purification. We don't. The only way we can do that is to have a priesthood established, because the priests have to be involved in the process of making it. We have to have a red heifer, which is a female cow, a red female cow. We would have to have all those things in place, which we don't have. Therefore, we have to just do with what we do have and ask the Most High to have mercy and forgive us for our ignorance and our lack of contribution during our prayer when we're asking him to remove those sins from us. That would be the best practice that I can say we can do in this captivity, in this day and time. But to just ignore that law as if it's just, oh, I didn't know that was there, it's just too difficult, or I ain't doing all that. Or the Creator, he couldn't possibly be asking us all of that. Yes, he can, yes, he do, and yes, you must. You must. So find a way, a time and a space to go ask the Most High for forgiveness of your sins, and do what you can do to spiritually cleanse yourself before you just give up on the Most High and say, well, this must not be the way of life for me, because I ain't seeing nothing but hard times. It may be that you're unclean in this manner, and you never ask the Father to forgive you of your uncleanness or to cleanse you of your uncleanness. It just may be. So talk that up with the Father and see what he does. See how he works with you. See how he heals you. And let me deal with this for a minute, for instance. We talking about any uncleanness. I'm not just speaking about the uncleanness for reason of the dead. That's true. That's one of them. But many of us practice idolatry for many years in our lives. And what we did was we gave the Most High's praise to a deity. That also is sin within you. And then we come and we realize that there is no power but the Most High. And I'm supposed to be worshiping him. So we leave that fraction of what they call religion and we come into the truth of the Almighty, but yet we never ask the Almighty to cleanse us of our sins. We never ask the and I mean specific sins. And we never go to the Almighty and ask the Almighty to forgive us of our iniquities and our wickedness and our abominations. But yet we want the Most High to accept us and to embrace us because we turn our prayers in his direction. Well, your prayers are unclean. If you're unclean, your prayers are unclean. And the Most High says he put a sky of iron across the ceiling of the heavens so that your prayers won't make it through. You got to learn, family. We're in an unclean condition perpetually. We got to ask the Most High to remove that from us. Then we can take it upon ourselves to approach him. But me, myself, just to be careful, family, every time you approach the Most High, you should start off by asking for permission to approach his throne. Because there's so many who don't. So that was a great commandment my wife brought up. Very good commandment. And we have to keep these things in mind, family. The Most High, he's not a respecter of person. He's not. He will watch you do all that work down there and you be striving and struggling and bleeding and sweating, and he'll have mercy on you because he appreciates what you do. But it just won't be, as you always assume in your mind, the Most High is going to acknowledge what I'm doing. Just won't be always have to be that way. Look how long Job was living the life that Job was living. And then the Most High brought his wrath upon Job. Job said, well, why? What did I do? I haven't did any sins. I haven't committed any abominations. I dedicate my existence to the king. Job just couldn't understand it, but he didn't lose faith. He stayed on his swear in obedience to the Most High. He understood that the Most High giveth and the Most High taketh away. So therefore, family, you can give all you want to give to the Most High. But if you feel that something in your life is just not getting better, go to the Most High. Submit yourself to his will completely. Change your behavior. Change the way you think. Change the way you do things. Submit yourself to his will and ask him for forgiveness. Ask him for forgiveness of things that you don't even know that you're guilty of, because there are so many. Half the things that we're guilty of, we don't even know right now because we offend the Creator on a spiritual level and don't even understand. You want me to give you an example? I'll give you an example. This is a way that you can offend the Creator on a spiritual level and don't even take heed to it. Real simple. If you go out to eat dinner somewhere and you see that those people sell unclean food, pork chops, chitlins, or whatever, and you say, well, you know what? I'm going to let them cook my food, but I'm not going to buy no pork. Do you realize that you just sinned on a spiritual level and you don't even know it? There is almost no way that your food can be served to you without cross-contamination. Now, what do you mean, Prince? That's like really going deep. And you have to go deep when you come into the service of this king. Do you think that they're not going to use the same knife that they use to cut the pig meat when they cut your meat? The same spatula, sometimes the same frying pan, the same grease, sometimes the same grill. Just because you go into this establishment and you say, well, I'm going to ask for a cheeseburger, a beef burger, and I'll make sure they don't give me a pork burger, and you know they sell pork meat, then you are just as guilty as the man who ate pork meat. Why? Because on a spiritual level, you knew better. On a spiritual level, you did not see enough to reverence the Most High and give him the proper respect he deserved by avoiding at every cost not to eat anything that would be defiled in his sight. So therefore, on a spiritual level, you sinned against the Creator. Now, that would be so simple of a thing that most of us wouldn't even think that we violated the Creator. There's probably plenty of you arguing with me right now about it. There's probably plenty of you saying in your mind, well, Prince, I just don't see. I don't agree with that. I don't see. And that's what I'm speaking about. When you're raised in your elevation of a spiritual maturity, you see things that others don't see. You know things that others don't know. But when you try to share spiritual knowledge with people who don't have that understanding, they reject it because somebody else didn't say it, or it ain't somewhere where they can go read it. When you're dealing with the Most High, it's an intimacy that the Most High puts inside of you. The more sacrificing you make for him, the more spirituality and development he gives to you. And you draw closer to him in his essence. For example, when we go in a house of worship, we take our shoes off. We leave them at the door. And we go into that building. Men don't teach you stuff like that. There's thousands of houses of worship throughout the world, and most of them don't teach you stuff like that. It only takes the divine, the Most High, the creator of all creation, to divinely give you that type of understanding that you could be sinning against him spiritually. All I'm saying, family, is you see that you're having hard times in your life, you're struggling, things are difficult, go to the Most High and ask him for mercy and forgiveness of the sins that you have committed against him that you are not so aware of, that you may not be aware of. Because believe me, there are many. So may the Most High be praised. And just know, family, this is all about our improvement. Torah.
All right, Princess.
Shalom. Shabbat shalom. So, Zeruiah. She's going to say her law first. Have to scoot down a little. Okay, go ahead.
You shall not steal.
Thou shalt not.
Say it again.
You shall not steal.
Thou shalt not steal. What does that mean, Zeruiah?
That you shouldn't take from other people.
That's right. Congratulations. May the Most High be praised. Very good. Very good commandment.
Next is
You ready?
Dawood.
Good.
Let me move the bottle for you.
Careful.
It's okay. We all shy in some way or another.
I'm shy too. Thou shalt not have any other false knighting ones but me.
Before.
What did you say?
Say it again.
Thou shalt not have any other false knighting ones before me.
False what?
Mighty ones.
Oh, wow. He got deep. Go ahead, bro. Very good. May the Most High be praised. Very good.
That's what it means.
I don't even need explanation, but you can give me it if you got it.
Very good.
Great job, Debbie. Great job.
You want to go? Or?
Yes.
Okay.
I have from Vayikra or Leviticus 25, verse 4. But unto the 7th year shall be a Shabbat unto rest unto the land, a Shabbat for Yahuwah. You shall neither sow your field nor prune your vineyard.
Okay, explain.
So it seems to me, just from his great magnificence in creating everything, to give the land a rest would be allowing it to replenish itself, to give it an opportunity to rebuild not only the nutrients in the soil, but also to allow the plants and the things that you have sown to be able to regain the nourishment. Not only that, I think later on it also says that you should allow the poor to prune from those things, and so it allows the animals also to be replenished, and the poor who may not have enough resources to buy or to grow, or may not have the land to grow their own food, it allows for them to also be fed. It basically allows for everything surrounding the land that you have to be replenished and restored.
Read that commandment again.
But in the 7th year shall be a Shabbat of rest unto the land, a Shabbat for Yahuwah. You shall neither sow your field nor prune your vineyard.
Wow. Very good. Total Rabbah. May the Most High be praised. Great explanation. That sound familiar, Roche?
What's that?
That commandment she just gave.
I'm familiar with the commandment, but I don't know what you're getting at. When you
What
say
was
that.
your commandment? What was your wife's commandment earlier?
You guys
The umbrella one and the fish one.
Very close to that, wasn't it?
Okay.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Total Rabbah.
No, that's the
That's the Most High bearing record in this atmosphere today. That's all.
Mhm.
Go ahead.
Okay, I'm gonna read Ezekiel's law. It says it's found in the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 12, verse 2 through 4. Yes, I'm sorry. Ye shall utterly destroy all the places wherein the nations which ye shall possess serve their deities upon the high mountains and upon the hills and under every green tree. And ye shall overthrow their altars and break their pillars and burn their groves with fire. And ye shall hew down the graven images of their deities and destroy the names of them out of that place. Ye shall not do so unto the Most High your power. Her explanation is these specific verses stood out to me today for a reason I don't know, but I do know that I know Israelites who teach this in their weekly service. I also know Israelites who then go out and do the exact opposite because they either have friends who are not in law or they want to fit in with people who are not in law. My question is, how are we supposed to go home to the land someday, Deuteronomy 8:1, if we are still trying to fit in with the people we were supposed to destroy and their idols we were also supposed to destroy? I suppose we could blame this on our forefathers that failed to destroy them in the past, but there's only so much we can blame on them. What about today? We have the choices to follow the people today and their idols, or take these people off the playing field, and we continue to choose the wrong path. Shalom.
Tell Ziki that next week she gonna have to start giving her own commandments because it involves communication between two parties, and she's doing a great job with all that she said. So how are we supposed to make it back to the land if we keep joining with all these different people that's practicing idolatry?
Mm-hmm.
Tell Ziggy to keep in mind that everybody's not going to make it back to the land. 2/3 of the people are going to be destroyed.
Mm-hmm.
2/3 are going to be destroyed. So only one part of that is going to actually make it in. Our job is to be the very best we can possibly be, so we'll be that 1/3 that makes it home to the land. A lot of people can't shake that habit, just like you said, Zeke, because they're so busy trying to be like the people around them, the other nations. The men want to sleep around with other women that they don't, that's not their wives. The women want to sleep around with other men that's not their husbands. But the abominations of this nation goes way deeper than that. It's really, really horrific. And then a lot of Israel is getting caught up right in that midst, right in the mix of it. We're really striving hard. And I'm talking about Israelites that go to Shabbat service, that wear fringes, that say shalom. A lot of them are getting caught up in the midst of that, just like everyone else.
Okay.
Eating chicken. When chicken is unclean, it's something we shouldn't be doing, but we do it. Now that you know, go do your research and check it out.
Okay.
All right. Did you go, Ema?
No, law. My law is found in the book of Exodus, Shemot chapter 23, verse 7. Keep thee far from a false matter, and the innocent and righteous slay thou not, for I will not justify the wicked. So my explanation is, I mean, of course, I feel like it's kind of self-explanatory where it definitely the first sentence, keep thee far from a false matter. So it's basically the Most High is telling you to stay away from false things, whether it be a matter of what somebody said about somebody else or a false, kind of like something we talked about earlier about false, obviously false idols, false things that make you false, which I know you like to always bring out about the fake eyelashes and the fake nails and the fake hair and the fake things that women and men are doing to their bodies these days. And those are false matters. In particular, I feel like it's more talking about two false matters that people just make up, about someone or about a group of people or about, just something because they don't get along with them. So, and I think he's saying keep yourself away from those matters. And then it says, and the innocent and righteous slay thou not. And so I believe it's saying when you are away from those false matters, then you're amongst the innocent and the righteous. So you're not going to be drawn into the wickedness or the false matters that aren't around you. And then the last sentence says, for I will not justify the wicked. So he's saying he's not going to give you a pass because he's giving you a choice to either stay away from the false matters or go with the righteous and the just. And so just because you may not do what the false person, the wicked person does, or may not even repeat what they do, but the fact that you're in the midst of them, he's not going to justify the wickedness, because that's basically him. If he comes to punish everybody, and I mean, we know that the Most High has his mercy. He can do what he chooses. But from what I'm reading, it's saying, for I would not justify the wicked. So if I'm sitting with a bunch of wicked people and I know that they're wicked, and it's been shown to me, and I decide to stay there, when the judgment falls, he's not going to justify just me being righteous because I've placed myself in the midst of this wickedness or in the midst of the false matter.
Okay, very good. May the Most High be praised.
Toda
Toda Rabbah. Toda Rabbah. All right, we ain't ready yet. We ain't ready yet for her.
Huh?
But I do want to say, Sister Elizabeth Warner, I love the fact that you're asking questions. That means that we're going to deliver something to you today, possibly that you wasn't aware of. I love the fact that you're voicing your opinion. All of those things are great and good, but we're going to get to it in a few minutes, all right? Just give us a few minutes to finish up the commandments, and then we're going to address every single question that you post in the room. Please be patient with us, please, because we want to give you the attention you deserve. We don't want to rush it. We don't want to cut it short. We want to give you the time and the space that you deserve to have all your questions answered. All right? Next commandment, please.
כן. אני חושב שזה שלי. We're going to go with Devarim, chapter 17, verse 14 and 15. It says, when thou art coming to the land, which the Most
That's your command, Rush?
Huh?
That's your command? You get ready to read your command?
Yeah, is anybody else coming?
Yeah, it's a lot of them in the room on the thread. Sister Trucelia has one.
All right. Where is she? Okay. Leviticus Wa'ikra 22 and 24. To castrate is to remove the testicles of man or animal. So let me go to the actual.
Is that a command or is that just a question?
She wants us to read it, I guess, and then she's asking the question, I guess.
Okay,
So
I thought she had a commandment. All
yeah.
right. Yeah, we'll address the questions later. My apologies, Roche. Please forgive me.
And yeah. Let me
Yeah,
see
we
if it's-
got like 4 questions we need to address. So we'll make sure we get into those things. So please forgive me. I was off.
let's see there. So continue with mine.
Hey, King, please.
Devarim 17 and 14 is when thou art come unto the land which the Most High thy power giveth thee, and shalt possess it, and shalt dwell therein, and shalt say, I will set a king over me, like as all the nations that are about me. Thou shalt in any wise set him king over thee, whom the Most High your power shall choose. One from among thy brethren shall set king over you. Thou mayest not set a stranger over you, which is not your brother. I want to stop there. There was a couple more things after that I could have went into, but I wanted to go here because it was a question. Well, I'm not going to answer that question. I think that what we were speaking on earlier about structure and operating of how the Tanakh is or what is in the law within it's telling us what to do and things of that nature. We have to learn small things like this. And even though this is the subject is talking about a king, the concept is still similar to where today we go outside of us more than within us with a lot of different subject matters. And I believe that right there is a lack of trust. And the Most High in this manner right here is letting us know that you have to pick someone of your brethren to rule over you if that's what you want, a melech, a king, to rule over you. One, because this individual should know and have a common understanding of the laws that I gave you. He's part of your community, right? So you also have the same goals, especially the goals that pertains to what I give you. And we can learn from this, I believe, because in order for this kingdom to thrive, it has to be somebody of your brethren, and it has to be somebody within your community, and you have to have a similar mindset. So if we're trying to thrive today and we're trying to flourish today, we have to learn how it is to be amongst each other. And I think a lot of us are so separate that it's going to be hard for us to accomplish that. So that's what we're trying to do here, Beulah. And I don't know if it was understood. My point being the commandment is to get a king amongst your brethren. Can't be someone else.
Shalom. All right. I guess they may be caught up in the weather, receiving bad weather where they are. I know that they do. All right. Sister Tucilia has Deuteronomy 18. Let me pull that up real quick. She has Deuteronomy 18. I think that's speaking about the prophets. Deuteronomy 18.
Prince, did you say something to me as far as what I said? I didn't hear anything anybody said.
Yeah, you blacked out. We couldn't hear you. But wonderful job. I think I understood where you was coming from. I did want you to elaborate a little bit more on it, but you know, it's cool. It's up to you what you want to do.
I can do it again. I don't know if you all heard me or not.
We heard everything up to the point where you said something about disagreeing with you or not understanding you. You said, did y'all understand everything I said? Something like that. And then you went to explain yourself again and it went dead.
Basically choose a king amongst you. And we see that's not even happening within our people today, those that observe our scripture. And then within our people, so-called Israelites, we are I think that scripture also applies with someone of a similar mindset on one accord that understands the people, understands the culture, and I don't think that we are choosing the proper individuals utilizing that concept of this subject being picking the king, someone over you.
Are you saying that we should actually pick a literal king, or are you saying that we do this even in picking our leadership?
Leaders, the second part. We can't pick a king because that'll go against scripture, in my opinion. Right now, we're not in position to do it, so
Right.
I wouldn't teach that.
Right. So you're saying in choosing leadership, people are not choosing leadership wisely because they choose anybody and everything.
Okay, even if it's our own brethren. And again, this is outside of what's the subject right now. But the concept, I believe, choosing the right leader has to be on one accord across the board.
Very good. May the Most High be praised. Very good. All right. Sister Tucelia, we're going to start with your commandment first. Deuteronomy 18, 9 to 15. All right. Now, I pulled it up so I can read it. Deuteronomy 18, 9 to 15. So, sis, I need you to type your explanation in the room so that by the time I finish reading it, your explanation will appear. When thou come into the land which the Most High thy Elohim giveth thee, thou shalt not learn to do after the abominations of those nations. There shall not be found among you anyone that maketh his son or his daughter to pass through the fire, or that uses divination, or an observer of times, or an enchanter, or a witch, or a charmer, or a consulter with familiar spirits, or a wizard, or a necromancer. For all that do these things are an abomination unto the Most High. And because of these abominations, the Most High thy Elohim does give them out from, does drive them out from before thee. Thou shalt be perfect with the Most High thy Elohim. For these nations which thou shalt possess hearken unto observer of times and unto diviners. But as for thee, the Most High thy Elohim have not suffered thee to do so. The Creator thy Elohim will raise up unto thee a prophet from the midst of thee, of thy brethren, like unto me. Unto him shall ye hearken. Very good, sis. Very good. Now I think we just need you to put your explanation of that. That's a very good paragraph for us to read. Very informative. I think it links into what Roche was saying about setting certain people up over you. A lot of people set prophets up over them and Levites up over them without carefully checking them out, watching their lifestyle, how they conduct themselves, and all those types of things. People do those things. So we're going to try to deal with the issues pertaining to the Almighty. Now, did I miss something? No, I didn't. All right. So, sis, until you post your portion in there, we'll leave it at that. All right. So may the Most High be praised. Now we're going to go up to the top portion. Can you overdo righteousness? Roche, you want to give your opinion on that matter?
You said can I overdo righteousness?
Can you
No.
overdo good deeds?
You can't overdo good deeds, but as we was reading on earlier, you can be doing good deeds where it doesn't belong.
There you go. You could be doing good for somebody that doesn't deserve it, and they won't appreciate it and will not give you the proper return for the good deeds.
Okay. And
Very good.
the one part I want to say about that is, even if they don't give you and I know this is not what Prince was talking about, but just in case you all grabbed it like this, the proper return, the Most High will give towards you. But the part that I'm speaking about the most is you can do good deeds and it can ultimately end up hurting you. So you should not do good deeds towards, and that's why it says don't do good deeds to sinners. When we was reading on it earlier, because ultimately, if it is a sinner, right, a sinner, someone that practices it daily on purpose with no repentance in their hearts, it could ultimately come back to bite you. So you have to have the foresight. You need to have the understanding as to who you're doing this good deed to. And that's just, in my opinion, wisdom.
Absolutely. Strong wisdom. Strong wisdom. All right. Sister Laurel, Leviticus 22 and 24. So let's see what that is. See what that's about. Leviticus 22 and 24. This was Sister Laurel's commandment. You shall not offer unto the Most High that which is bruised or crushed or broken or cut. Neither shall you make any offerings thereof in your land. Very good. I would like to hear from you, sis, and see what you think, how you translate all that. That will be a good thing for me. I would like to hear how you interpret that in your own words. So if you get a chance, Sister Laurel, if you can post it, it'll be wonderful. May the Most High be praised. Sister Tucelia came back with, we should not go through the back door like other nations to get what we want or desire in life. We should depend totally on the Most High to fulfill all our needs. Very good. Very good, sis. Greatly appreciated. Rose, you want to comment on that? You good? Okay. Total Ba. All right. Where's my sister Alicia Ba at? Alicia Ba, where you at, sis? Let's get busy. All right. First things, Sister Alicia Ba, you still in the room? First thing she asks is, what proof do you have of what you're saying? There are many ways a man can be defiled. There are many ways we can defile ourselves. Everywhere you go is a defiled place. People die all over the place all the time. I don't agree with you. I'm confused now, sis. What is it that you don't agree with? You're saying the same thing that I'm saying, so I don't understand what it is that you don't agree with. Am I misreading this? Let me read it again.
She gave a second part to it. She expounded in the second part.
The second part says about Job, right?
Okay.
You are saying Job went through trials because he was unclean. What proof do you have of it? I see spiritual and hearing spiritual. These are two different things. You think that's the same subject?
She's expounding. She's using Job as an example of him going through all the stuff that happened to him, the death of his children and things of that nature. Are you saying that he was unclean?
No, I thought I made that clear. Job was going through a test. The Most High was testing Job's loyalty, not that he was unclean because he got punished because he was unclean. No, I explained that uncleanness, just because you're unclean don't mean you sinned. Those are two different things. But you could bring sin upon you by entering into a holy place or dealing with holy items if you're unclean. Then you can bring sin upon yourself. Then the Most High deal with you. But no, Job didn't go through trials because he was unclean. The Creator wanted to show the world how a man can go through punishment, suffering, sad times, hard times, and never turn his back on the king. That's what the Most High was trying to show through the story of Job. Job went through a very difficult period in his life, boils on his flesh. People didn't want to listen to him. People accused him of lying, saying that he didn't sin, all types of things. The Most High brought Job back up on top. And at the end of that, He says to those men, he says, look at my servant Job, go to him and ask him to pray for you. For him I will hear. See, Most High wasn't paying attention to all those people that thought they knew everything. They had to actually go to Job, the one that they criticized and critiqued and talked bad about, who had all the blisters and boils all over his skin, who lost his children and lost his wealth and all those things. They had to go to him to be forgiven after they had made a mockery of him. So, sis, I pray that you understand where we're coming from. If that still is not clear, please post your question and we'll try to address those things. Because I'm not sure if that's not the answer that you're asking for. I mean, that's not the direction of the question that you're asking, that I'm unsure and I'm not clear. All right? So may the Most High be praised. Is there anything I missed? Is there anyone's comments that was missed? Any questions that we did not address?
Not that I see.
All right, it's 3:58. Let's move on. All right, we're going to need a reader. Are there any other questions that anybody may have before we move on? All right, I see something. To create is to remove the testicles. To castrate is to remove the testicles of a man or animal. Please explain to us. But that would be correct. That's what castration is. In the ancient days, we had what we call a eunuch. And a eunuch was a man who watched over the property of a king. The property that he watched over was his harem of women, or his wife, or several women. Usually it was several women. And to ensure that this eunuch wasn't having intercourse with these women, they would castrate his penis and cut his penis off so that he couldn't penetrate the women. It was a surgical process so that he couldn't penetrate the women. And that's what a eunuch was, and that's what a form of castration is. Even today, people do those things. Now, the thing is, they cut his penis off because imagine if the eunuch, which was a slave, had intercourse with a princess and she produced a child, and they would think that that child was a royal descent, because ain't nobody supposed to be sleeping with the princess or the queen except the king. So that child could be put in a position and he's not even a royal blood. He's not even the king's son. So therefore, when they would have the men to look over the women, they would castrate the women. Castrate the men, cut off their penis, remove their penis, so that they could not have sexual intercourse with the women. And yes, some men had their testicles removed so that they couldn't. The semen is produced in testicles. And the testicles, if the testicles are removed, then you cannot produce semen, therefore you cannot produce children. Now, a eunuch was not supposed to be in the assembly of the Creator, in the congregation of the Most High ever. It does not mean that a eunuch could not serve the Creator. It only means that a eunuch could not be like a priest or a prophet or a king or anything of that nature to serve the Most High on those levels. A eunuch could be in the guard, he could be in the military, he could be in the army, he can even worship the Most High, but he could not be an assembly of the congregation of the Most High's people on a high spiritual level with a high spiritual position, because that would be considered a fault or a blemish in his manhood. And with that blemish in his manhood, he would not qualify to be in the assembly of the Most High on that level. So if that answers your question, I'm going to move on to the next question. If it does not answer your question, please restate your question and I will address it. All right, Sister Ornette mentions, I think we might have covered that today, sis. She mentions Numbers chapter 19, verse 14. And let me see, that picks up right after where we left off. And verse 14 says, "This is the law, when a man dieth in a tent, all that came into the tent and all that is in the tent shall be unclean 7 days." And her explanation is, if a person dies in the place of dwelling, anyone that enters that dwelling afterwards will be unclean for 7 days. You don't have to physically touch the body to be unclean in this case, because any dwelling a dead body has been in makes that dwelling spiritually unclean. Hence, making any person that stepped foot in that dwelling also be spiritually unclean. All right, let me explain this to you, sis. Either you got a typo or you didn't fully understand this position. So let me read it. If a person dies in a place of dwelling, anyone that enters that dwelling afterwards will be unclean for 7 days. Okay, I agree with you. You're right. But if that person is not sprinkled on the 3rd day and the 7th day, then that person is perpetually unclean. So initially, yes, they're unclean for 7 days. But they have a process that they have to go through on the 3rd day and the 7th day. If they do not go through that process on the 3rd day and the 7th day, then yes, they are perpetually unclean. I pray that I addressed that correctly. May the Most High be praised. No, it doesn't mean. Would assembly also mean they cannot be in the midst of the people, like literally not join the crowd? No, I don't believe that's what it means. In my opinion, it doesn't mean that. In my opinion, what it means is it cannot be in the assembly, in the congregation of titles of nobility, a priest, a prophet, somebody on that level that directly, in instance, serves the Creator. Even in a Levitical order, if there's a Levitical child or man, young man, that wants to serve the Creator, that has any of those blemishes, he can't serve in the order of the Creator. He can't do that. But it doesn't mean that he can't worship the Most High. You can still worship him. You just can't serve in any leadership capacity. Or let me say, it's another word out there that's better for that. That word would be mediator. You couldn't be able to serve as a mediator between the Creator and the people. So that's how that would fall in play. All right. Are there any other questions or comments, family? If not, we're going to move on. All right. We're going to need a reader today. Do we have anybody to volunteer to read today? And we're going to be coming out of the book of Numbers, chapter 20.
I will if you need.
You got it, bro?
Okay.
All right. Let's go when you're ready. May the Most High be praised. Now, family, get your pens, your paper, your notepads. Share, and share so that others can also see what it is that we're about to get into, because we get ready to cover some things. We're going to bring some things out that a lot of people are not aware of. And it's always best that you have the opportunity to share these things with others in these times. I'm just trying to look so I can share it into my room on my page, because there's going to be some good information coming forward. May the Most High be praised. All right, let's go, bro.
Numbers 20, chapter 20, verse 1. Then came the children of Israel, even the whole congregation, into the desert of Zin in the first month. And the people abode in Kadesh, and Miriam died there and was buried there.
Now, let's pay attention to this. Now, we're on Numbers 20 and 1, right?
Okay, do you want me to pull it up for the people, or are we okay?
Yeah, please. Absolutely. Because there may be some without the Tanakh.
All right, give me a sec. Select me.
And the people of Yisrael, the whole congregation, came into the wilderness of Zin in the first month. And the people stayed in Kadesh. And Miriam died there and was buried there in Kadesh. Miriam was a prophetess of the Most High. Miriam was the sister of Aharon and Levi and Moshe. She was a sister. But when she died, there was no celebration for her death. I don't know what our forefathers was going through at that time. I don't know what they might have been at war. Anything could have been happening. I really don't understand why. But there was no celebration at her death. And you know, customarily, when somebody dies of prestige, because she was of prestige, she was an awesome woman. She had done a lot in the nation. She was one of the ones who was the singers of the choirs and all those things. And she was a prophetess. And I only know of one thing that she may have done that was ill in the sight of the Creator. So I don't know of anything that she may have been guilty of, why her death wasn't memorialized. It says, and Miriam died there and was buried there, period. That's the end of it. It doesn't say that the people mourned for 30 days for Miriam like they do with other people or dignitaries or important people that pass away in the scriptures. Even Joab, Abner got a 30 days. He got a funeral, he got a procession. But Miriam, in all of her greatness, she didn't receive it. Or it's just not written. I don't know if she didn't receive it, but I know that we can't say it happened because it's not written. So I just wanted to bring that part out because I thought that was very important. It was very important. Now, Rosh also read verse 2. No, you didn't read verse 2 yet, did you, Rosh?
No.
Okay, go ahead.
The community was without water, and they joined against Moshe and Aharon. The people quarreled with Moshe, saying, if only we had perished when our brothers perished at the instance of the Most High.
Now, I want to read this. I want to jump on this part, but I don't want to do it yet until after verse 4. So can you start again at verse 3, please? Now, family, I need you to pay close attention and follow along with Rosh, every word for what it is that he's saying. Start again at verse 3, please.
Verse 3. The people quarreled with Moshe, saying, if only we had perished when our brothers perished at the instance of the Most High. Why have you brought the Most High's congregation into this wilderness for us and our beasts to die there?
Now, the people, I want you to remember this. These are the same people that saw all the great miracles that the Creator had done through Moshe and Aharon for the people, but yet the people are constantly badgering Moshe. Now you can ask yourself some questions. I mean, is this what the people supposed to do to leadership? Or are leadership supposed to deliver a certain type of thing to the people? I tend to think that the people should hold leadership accountable. And if leadership is not producing what a leader should be producing, he should be replaced and moved out of the way for somebody that has greater vision and understanding. But in this particular instance, the people had not the vision. The people had not the understanding. Moshe had the understanding. They didn't receive the vision from the Creator. They could not see, but Moshe could. The problem with the people was that the people was a stiff-necked, rebellious, greedy, selfish people. They only wanted what they wanted, when they wanted it, and how they wanted it. And they had no patience in their spirit. The Most High was moving mountains for them, literally removing nations from before them. And they were walking at a steady pace with Moshe, and that wasn't enough for them. And they kept gnashing, they kept quarreling, they kept complaining, they kept fighting, they kept arguing. They even going to complain about the food that the Most High gave them. And he gave them quail. He gave them manna from heaven. He fed them angels' food, and they was trapped in the flesh and blood. He gave them angels' food, and that wasn't enough for them trapped in their flesh. Family, what am I saying? There comes a time in our lives where we are unhappy with the Most High's condition for us, what he's done for us, what he's done to us, and what the position in life that he has us in. Part of that problem in us is because we're too busy comparing ourselves with somebody else. What you should do is learn to compare yourself with who you used to be, and then compare yourself to who you are now. You're more spiritual. You're more focused. You're more disciplined. You keep your word now. You're more honorable. But previously, before coming into this way of life, you was a piece of work. You had a whole lot of babies by a whole lot of different men. You had sex with all different women freely because you choose to, because you was a man or male. You did whatever you wanted to do. But when you came into this life and you dedicated yourself to Creator and you were serious with this walk, because the Most High didn't shower upon you great blessings and riches from the door, give you a Maserati and a yacht and a mansion, because he didn't do those things that the world says are blessings from the Creator, you thought he wasn't blessing you, but he was. Because all the things that I just mentioned to you, half the world doesn't have. You may have great riches and cars and great houses and all those things. But if you read the scriptures, those are not the things that the promises of the Creators are. The Creator says he will provide for you. He will fill your spirit. And you look at the things, the 7 things that the Most High hate. Most of those things have to do with the personality. Lying on people, cheating people, stealing, talking bad about people. You don't have those characteristics of traits anymore. We have to learn to be content, for the most part, with what the Most High has blessed us with. Because if we have a humble spirit, and if we acknowledge the blessings of the Creators in our lives, then the Most High will give us more. He who is worthy, the Most High blesses. He rewards. He who is not worthy, the Most High doesn't reward. Therefore, family, what I'm saying to you is that our forefathers have been unworthy since ancient days, because they could not see how the Most High was feeding them angels food, how they got to play all day, how the water from them came from rocks. If they got into a desert, there was no water. The Most High called Moses to speak to a rock. He gave them water from rocks. Their food used to fall from the heavens. They didn't have to go out and till the land. They was in the desert, but yet they ate every day, and they were out there for 40 years. Who would say that those people are not being provided for? Who would say that those people are not blessed? The clothes on their back did not wax old. The shoes on their feet didn't wax old. They didn't wear out. But yet these people murmured. They quarreled. They wasn't pleased. And we are those people today. Many of us are complaining because our bank accounts don't have 6 digits in it. So therefore we're complaining. Many of us are complaining because right now in our pockets ain't got but $20 in it. And we're complaining. But the greatest lesson that you were supposed to learn, that you have learned, you overlooked when it came by way of blessings and said, I know I got all that discipline, but guess what? I need that money too. The key to getting it is by submitting yourself to the will of the Most High and acknowledging all that He's done for you before you start complaining about what you don't have and what you didn't receive. You have to first show gratitude for what you have. Same thing with the children of Israel. The Most High got so angry with those ungrateful people, He started killing them. He started killing them. Do you want to be in the midst of that group today? Do you want to be like that? Because if you yourself don't begin to see the blessings that the Most High has placed in your life, one or two things are wrong. One of the things might be that you're ungrateful. The other thing might be that you got more to do before the real, strong, powerful blessings that the world say is supposed to be upon you will come upon you. And the only thing that you can do in that instance is heed the voice of the Most High when He speaks to you. Because obviously there's more work that He has for you to do that you have not begun to touch the surface of. And you put it off, you put it off, and you put it off because you yourself are not ready to make that sacrifice, but yet you're ready to receive more from the Creator. If you want more, you got to do more. Go out and begin to feed the homeless. You know, show some charity, some love to those who are less fortunate than you. Offer your services to the people who represent the Most High free of charge. Just let me serve you as you serve the Creator. And I don't want nothing for it. I just want the benefit of being in the good graces of the Most High. How many of you had that type of attitude? How many of you send money? Just you got extra dollars? How many of you just send money to the house of worship just as a benefit? Here, send that to the Creator. I know He'll do good by it. Or send it to people in communities that you know that are in desperate need for it. Everybody's life is not suffering to the degree that everyone else is. Everybody's life is different. Some people don't have as much money as other people. Some people don't have as much integrity as other people. Some people don't have much honor and respect as other people. Some people don't have as much discipline as other people. But you got almost all of that. And what are you doing with it? But yet you're not pleased and satisfied, and you're begging the Most High for other things. Don't get it confused, family. The more you do for the Most High, the more He blesses you. He knows your needs. You have to understand how to show appreciation to this King. Our forefathers didn't get it right then. This has been left on record for us so that we can learn how to get it right, so that we will stop being so disrespectful to the Creator. It was asked in the room earlier. It was asked, how do we make preparations to go home if we keep on joining in with the other nations? You know why we join in with the rest of the nations, a lot of us? Because we think that we're missing out on something. We feel like they're getting something that we don't have. We feel like, for the most part, a lot of us, we feel like it's fun to live like they live, and it's boring to live the life that the Creator requires of us. And that's what our forefathers did when they were in the wilderness at this particular time. And this is just one of the many times. That's what they did. And let's see what their results were, and then let's look at our results and compare the two. If we are the same people today, or if we have changed. Brother Roche, read on, please.
Verse 5. Why did you make us leave Egypt or Mizraim to bring us to this wretched place, a place with no grain or figs or vines or pomegranates? There is not even water to drink. Moshe and Aharon came away from the congregation to the entrance of the tent of meeting and fell on their faces. The presence of the Most High appeared to them.
Now stop for a second. These people are still complaining, bickering, quarreling, even as they say, and nagging, pointing the finger, ready to pick up bricks and stone Moshe and Aharon. They knew this. They felt that tension. They felt that oppression, and they felt the pressure. But you know what those two men did? What did those two men do when all the people was coming against them? They humbled themselves and put their face on the ground to the Most High. It says, then Moshe and Aharon went from the presence of the assembly to the entrance of the tent of meeting and fell on their face. Is that something that you do when you got pressure on your head? When your bills are piling up? When your children are acting out? When your husband is not in a proper alignment with the Creator's will from the way he's treating you? From the way he's disrespecting you? When your wife might not be doing right by the Creator? Is this what you do? When your boss on your job is getting down on you and it seems like somebody on your job just don't like you and they're causing you problems? When that sister talks about you to everybody else, do you fall on your face and go to the Most High? See, there's great lessons in here for us to learn. When that pressure comes from everywhere, that is the time, the most important time, that we are to turn to the Creator in submission and let the Most High fight our battles for us, because he fights better than any of us. That is the time when we are to bow down in complete submission to the King. A time more important than all other times, most other times, and ask the Most High to fight our battles for us. See, both of these men were Levites. Both of these men lead the people of the Most High, and both were in power. Both of these men was in charge. It says, then Moshe and Aharon went from the presence of the assembly of the entrance of the people. Both of these men were powerful men, men of renown. But yet when that fire came, they didn't take it upon themselves. They went to the Most High. They could have cast out judgments and started cutting people off. And the other men would have done what they said for those soldiers to go out and kill those people. They would have did it. But remember the type of leadership that you're working with. Leadership has to be in discipline and control of himself at all times. And Moshe and Aharon displayed that type of leadership. Look how harmonious that relationship between the two of them worked out. Between Moshe and Aharon. None of them got big-headed, saying, this is me, I'm doing this. You ain't doing much of nothing. Sit down, be quiet. Now, they had different ranking, but yet both of those men were leadership. This shows you that it can be done. Most people think that if it's two princes, who's going to run the show? It's not necessary for that to take place because everybody knows their position. Everybody knows what they're supposed to do. We spoke about that earlier, about the people being on one accord. And if the people are on one accord, we don't have those issues. It's when people step outside of righteousness, Moshe and Aharon, either of them could have stepped outside and took everything upon themselves in completeness, shut the other one out. But they didn't do that. The Most High spoke to both of them when it was time, and then the Most High spoke to both of them separately when it was time. That's perfection in leadership. That shows us that it can be done. You can have two princes running a community, running the heads. You can have that. But only people that search self-glorification, self-deification, and self-respect, those are the only people when you can't have two powerful men running a community. That's the only time when it can't take place. But here we have in the scriptures where these two men did a hell of a job. Very few things do you see that they did that wasn't in alignment with the Most High's will. It wasn't perfect. It was very few things. There was some things. There was few. Not many that we could say, oh, I don't even know why they're there. No, it wasn't that many. And they learned. In the beginning with the golden calf, Aaron did that. He learned from that. He moved on and got better. And he got so much better that the Most High made him the high priest of the people. That meant he was above the priesthood. He had a lot of men in alignment under him who was jealous and envious of him, but yet he was their boss. He was their king. He was the superior tactic of all of them. And Moshe was above everything, the whole order. So now that I've just shared with you the power and the glory and the greatness of both of these men, verse 6 says that these men rose and went to the presence. They went from the presence of the assembly after the assembly was coming down on them real hard. They went from the presence of the assembly to the tent of meetings and fell on their faces. That's the type of humility you have to have in leadership today in order for them to be effective at leadership. Because most males today think they got all the answers. Moshe and Aharon didn't demonstrate that. What Moshe and Aharon did demonstrate was humility before the Most High, because they knew that they wasn't nothing without the Creator. Now, how many of us have that type of leadership in our midst today? How many of us even got leadership that's talking about those type of things? Not many. Not many. Now, the people, let's move with the people for a minute. Now, the people are going to come hard on Moshe. They say, why did you bring us out here that both us and our cattle will die in the wilderness? They was nagging, they was picking. And it's really frustrating to Moshe and Aharon. But they kept their composure. They say to the people, we'll be right back. They went to the Most High to seek the advice from the Most High. They came back and they dealt with the people of the words that the Most High had to say. And that's what we're about to read about. Now watch what happens to a stiff-necked, disrespectful, ungrateful people and see if we apply, if we fit in that category today. Rosh?
Verse 7. And the Most High spoke to Moshe, saying, you and your brother Aharon take the rod and assemble the community, and before their very eyes order that rock to yield its water. Thus you shall produce water for them from the rock and provide drink for the congregation and their beasts. Moshe took the rod from before the Most High as he had been commanded. Moshe and Aharon assembled the congregation in front of the rock, and he said to them, listen, you rebels, shall we get water for you out of this rock? And Moshe raised his hand and struck the rock twice with the rod. Out came copious water, and the community and their beasts drank.
Stop, please. Did anybody notice that through all that frustration, all that aggravation, Moshe and his brother did not do what the Creator instructed them to do? Did anybody notice that? Yeah. What was it that the Most High told them to do? Let's go to verse 7. It says, and the Most High spake to Moshe, saying, take the staff and assemble the congregation, you and Aharon your brother, and tell the rock before their eyes to yield its water. Tell the rock, not hit the rock, not beat the rock. That aggression, the Most High doesn't like aggression until it's necessary. And usually it's necessary in time of warfare. Usually it's necessary in time of warfare. The Most High told him to talk or speak unto the rock. The word should be dabar. And he should have told him, speak unto the rock. But in the sentence, it might say, let up there to speak to the rock before their eyes to yield water. Now, the problem with this is this. And I know a lot of people may not taught you this, but I'm going to elaborate a little bit on this. And it's cool if they didn't. It's okay. It only means that they missed it. That's all. When things are done on a spiritual level, you don't necessarily have to do things with the physical level to substantiate the power of the Creator. Do you follow what I'm saying? And if you don't, then I'll explain it to you. The people was thirsty. They had a need. The people was thirsty. They had a need. And that need was they wanted water because they were about, as they put it, to die of thirst in the wilderness. Moshe, being the leadership, is supposed to supply the need of the people. Do y'all see that? Leadership is supposed to supply the need of the people. If leadership fails to supply the need of those people that walk with him, then he has failed to properly lead his people. Moshe isn't bound to the Creator. Moshe and Aharon are bound to the Most High. Therefore, everything they do gives glory and honor to the Creator. When the Most High told Moshe and Aharon to go speak to that rock, and they went and hit the rock, they gave the impression that they themselves, by smiting the rock, caused that rock to split open. But if they would have stood on that rock and spoke to the rock, you see what I'm getting at? Then that glory would have went to the Most High. But if they take it upon themselves and they began to hit the rock and possibly split the rock open and give the impression that by their mighty hand, by their strength, by their force, the rock gave them water, he's going to cuss them out while he's doing it. But by doing so, he caused the glory of the Most High to be removed from the eyes of the people. The Most High didn't like that. That angered the Most High. It's very important, family, that when the Most High speaks to you, you do what he says for you to do and not what you just want to do. Even in a position of leadership, and we're all leaders in our own right. Y'all have to understand that. People look up to you for leadership. People look up to you for guidance. People look to you for instructions. We're all leaders in our own right. So this applies to you as well, just on a different level. When the Most High instructs you to do something, he's real particular, and you have to pay attention to do it the way that he instructs you to do it. Because the Most High is seeking his own glory, not your glory. If he wanted you to be glorified, he would do things in a different manner. He wants him to be glorified. And as a vessel of his, you should want for him to be glorified and not yourself. So as Roche was speaking about earlier, whenever you get a person that's talking about me, I did this is mine, this is what I did, this I, look at me, look what I did. That person is wicked. And you have to be careful of that type of person. You have to be careful of them. When a person says we, then he has separated himself from the equation by saying we. How do he separate himself, Prince? Because he's not giving himself the glory. It's us. We've done it. That's more beneficial. But in this instance, glory goes only to the supreme intelligence of the universe, the creator of all creation. And Moshe and Aharon was only required to speak to the rock. Had they spoken to the rock, then the people's understanding, their eyes of who's really glorified or worthy of glory would have still been on the creator and not Moshe and Aharon. Roche, let's read that on and let's see what happens after they smoke the rock.
Verse 12. But the Most High said to Moshe and Aharon, because you did not trust me enough to affirm my sanctity in the sight of the Israelite people, therefore you shall not lead this congregation into the land that I have given them.
All right, stop for a second, please. And the glory of the Most High appeared to them. The glory of the Creator appeared to them both. Okay, we're going to read on a little bit more. All right, read a little bit more there, Roche, please.
Verse 13. Those are the waters of Meribah, meaning that the Israelites quarreled with the Most High, whose sanctity was affirmed through them. From Kadesh, Moshe sent messengers to the king of Edom. Thus says your brother Yisrael, you know all the hardships that have befallen us. 15. That our ancestors went down to Mizraim, that we dwelt in Egypt or Mizraim a long time, and that the Egyptians dealt harshly with us and our ancestors. We cried to the Most High who heard our plea, sending a messenger who freed us from Egypt. Now we are in Kadesh, the town on the border of your territory. Allow us then to cross your country. We will not pass through fields or vineyards, and we will not drink water from wells. We will
Now,
follow.
who they talking to? Who they talking to right now? Who are they talking to? This when they talking to Edom?
That's what. Yeah, okay. I
They're
believe
talking
so.
to Edom, the Edomites.
Mhm.
And the Edomites are supposed to be the brothers of Israel. Jacob and Esau was brothers. So the Edomites come from Esau, and we, Jacob, they're supposed to be our brothers. And when it started, it said, my brethren. Moshe sent messengers from Kadesh to the king of Edom. Thus says your brother Israel. You see that? Your brother Israel. He poured the race card on him. He said, we brothers. And we're passing through your territory. Can we pass through? We won't touch nothing. Let's see what Esau says. What verse we on, bro?
17. Allow us then to cross your country. We will not pass through fields or vineyards, and we will not drink water from wells. We will follow the king's highway, turning off neither to the right nor to the left until we have crossed your territory. But Edom answered him, you shall not pass through us, else
He
we
said,
will
lo.
go.
He said, lo. You should not pass through. You can't come. Read on, please.
You shall not pass through us, else we go out against you with the sword. 19. We will keep to the.
Now, this is another reason why it took us so long to get through the wilderness. Because there's going to be a lot of nations that's not going to let us pass through. Now, this was our brother, Esau. Was our brother. And our brother wouldn't help us. Anytime your brother don't help you, he's not much of a brother. The Creator says in the scriptures, Esau I hate. He said, I hate him. The Most High didn't like the habits and the characteristics and the traits of Esau. And primarily, that was one of the reasons why the Most High hated him. Because he did not show kindness to us. But a lot of this was the reason why it took us so long to make that through the wilderness, through the journey through the wilderness. 40 years it took us. The majority of it was because of our own sin. But a lot of it was because when we came up against these nations, they wouldn't let us take the straight path. We had to go around about. And then we got to that nation, we had to go around about. And then when we got to certain nations, the Most High is going to cause us to be there for a little while because we had to destroy them. We had to go to war with certain nations. So that takes time. These things didn't happen in one day. Read on, please. Let's see where we at.
19. We will keep to the beaten track, the Israelites said to them, and if we or our cattle drink your water, we will pay for it. We ask only for passage on foot. It is but a small matter. But they replied, you should not pass through. And Edom went out against them in heavy force, strongly armed. 21. So Edom
They came out right. They said, no, y'all ain't coming through. But they came out as a show of strength to show us that they meant business. But they didn't know what they was messing with. Because we the children of Israel. And the Most High was on our side. Even as we just sinned against him, he still ain't going to let nobody beat us up and do nothing to us. Even though we just sinned against him. Read on. Let's see what happens.
21. So Edom would not let Yisrael cross their territory, and Yisrael turned away from them. Setting out from Kadesh, The Israelites arrived in a body at Mount Hor. 21. At Mount Hor, on the boundary of the land of Edom, the Most High said to Moshe and Aharon, let Aharon be gathered to his kin. He is not to enter the land that I have assigned to the Israelite people, because you disobeyed my command about the waters of Meribah.
Stop for a second, please. How long was it after they disobeyed him that the Most High held Aharon accountable? I don't know the answer to that, but I know that they was journeying further on. It had been a little bit of time. Remember when the people was nagging Moshe and Aharon? Moshe and Aharon lost composure, and Moshe struck the rock instead of speaking to the rock. Well, the Most High held both of them accountable for that. And at this particular time, Aharon's card was held first. And he's going to die right there. Now, the thing about it is that Moshe and Aharon is not just Moshe and Aharon, but some other people are going to go up with them into the mountain. And Aharon is never going to come back down. He's going to die in that land. Read on. Let's see where we at, Rosh.
24. Let Aharon be gathered to his kin. He is not to enter the land that I have assigned to the Israelite people, because you disobeyed my command about the waters of Meribah. Take Aharon and his son Eleazar, and bring them up on Mount Hor.
Now watch this. He took Aharon and his son, took him up to the mountain, did a ritual, had a ritual process, and then he bestowed upon Eleazar all the rights of his father. And his father gave up the ghost. His father passed on to the next existence. And Eleazar became high priest over all his brothers, over all the Levites. And then they came back down the mountain. Why did the Most High allow Aaron to die? The Most High said it was because Moses did not obey the Most High's command. So what the Most High did was he cut off his right-hand man. Remember, Moshe was the prophet. Aaron was the prophet. Moshe was the Elohim, which meant that when Elohim speaks to the prophet actually does the job. Y'all follow me so far? So when Moshe spoke to Aaron to smite the rock, the credit goes to Moshe because Aaron was doing what Moshe told him to do. Just like when the Most High does something for us to an individual, we thank that individual, but all glory goes to the Creator for using that individual to do something for us. Same thing, vice versa. Moshe gets the credit for smiting the rock because he told his prophet, his servant, what to do. He did it. And Aharon died first. Moshe didn't escape, though, family. Don't think Moshe got away with anything, because he didn't. It just wasn't his time at that time for him to go. So why did the Most High let Aharon go first and Moshe stay back till later? Because he wasn't finished with what Moshe had. The first thing he needed to do was exactly what he did. Only somebody that or higher can transfer and make somebody greater than what they are. Only a prince can make a prince. Only a king can make a prince. Only an elder can make a prince. Elders, it take a lot of elders, but only elders can make a prince. You follow me? A man can't just give himself a title and say, I am that. Eleazar had to be made high priest from somebody who outranked him in authority for it to be substantiated in the sight of the people and in the heavens above. You see what I'm getting at? You see what I'm getting? See where I'm going? There you go. So therefore, Moshe's job wasn't over. Plus, the Most High got some battling that Moshe getting ready to instruct the people in. He ain't finished with Moshe yet. But Aharon can go. And when Aharon goes, I need you, Moshe, to anoint his son to be high priest in his stead. Read on. Let's see what we're getting at.
26. Strip Aharon of his vestments and put them on his son Eleazar. There Aharon shall be gathered unto the dead. 27. Moshe did as the Most High had commanded. They ascended Mount Hor in the sight of the whole community. Moshe stripped Aharon of his vestments and put them on his son Eleazar. And Aharon died there on the summit of the mountain when Moshe and Eleazar came down from the mountain.
Now, do you see the... Hold 1 second, please. Do you see the power in that? How did Moshe and Aharon and Eleazar know the particular moment of Aharon's death? It wasn't like he was sickly. He just climbed up in a mountain. You know what I'm saying? But nothing could have took that man's life except the Most High. That's the king we serve. That's how powerful he is. They predicted it down to the very moment when he was going to pass. You know why they were able to do that? Because the Most High told him. The Most High told him what was about to take place before it happened. He didn't use a dream. He didn't use a vision. He just told him what to do, and he obeyed. My servant Moshe is not like unto them. Prophets I speak to in visions and dreams, but my servant Moshe is not like unto them. To him I speak face to face, like a man does his friend. And Moshe was accurate when the Most High spoke to him. Aaron knew he was about to go. He didn't argue. He didn't fight. He didn't struggle. He didn't plead. He knew he was guilty. He accepted his punishment. He went up in the mount. He knew what was going to happen. And he gracefully laid down and allowed it to take place. Read on, please.
Verse 29. The whole community knew that Aaron had breathed his last. All of the house of Israel bewailed Aaron 30 days.
How long?
30.
Why didn't they do that for Miriam? Or is it just that it's not written for Miriam? For Aaron, they wailed for 30 days. But for Miriam, they didn't even, wasn't no big deal from what we see. We don't know the whole circumstances around the situation with Miriam. We don't know. They could have done it and just didn't write it. I don't know the answer to that. But what I do know, that Aaron was the high priest to the people. Miriam was a prophetess, which is different from a high priest, but yet still a title of nobility. When Aaron died, the people wailed for 30 days. When Miriam died, it doesn't mention one person shedding a tear. And I don't know why it's that way, but that's the way that it is. May the Most High be praised. Read on, please.
Chapter 21. When the Canaanite king of Arad, who dwelt in the Negeb, learned that Israel was coming by the way of Atharim, he engaged Israel in battle and took some of them captive. Then Israel made a vow to the Most High and said, if you deliver this people into our hand, we will prescribe their towns. The Most High heeded Israel's plea and delivered up the Canaanites, and they and their cities were prescribed, so that place was named Hormah.
Now, the children of Israel 2 months ago was just wicked in the Most High's sight. He wasn't pleased with them. They was complaining, nagging, fussing, which they do all the time. The Most High hasn't forgotten that. But the Most High had to deal with leadership first. And that's what he did by taking Aharon out. He corrected leadership in their position and what they've done first. And then he's going to deal with the people. Read on, please.
Verse 4. They set out from Mount Hor by way of the Sea of Reeds to skirt the land of Edom, but the people grew restive on the journey, and the people spoke against the Most High and against Moshe. Why did you make them?
What? They doing it again? The people speaking out again? The people fussing, complaining, bickering, mocking all over again? Read on, please. Let's see what's getting ready to happen.
And the people spoke against the Most High and against Moshe. Why did you make us leave Mizraim to die in the wilderness? There is no bread and no water, and we have come to loathe this miserable food.
Now, they were eating food of angels. They were getting water from rocks. So you know how purified that water was. It came out of the rock. That water was better than spring water. But they complaining. They are complaining. And watch what takes place. Read on, please.
The Most High sent Seraph, serpents against the people. They bit the people.
I got to interrupt for a minute. This is where it gets tricky. What I want to do is I want to read the first way that it goes. It's been translated. Fiery serpents. And I want you to follow the science behind what they say. And then I'm going to come back and I'm going to introduce you to the actual context and what it really says. So, Roche, please read that, please. And the Most High, he got tired of them bickering. He got tired of them complaining, fussing. He got tired of all that. And now he's about to bring down his wrath. Why is he about to bring down his wrath? Because he already dealt with Moshe and Aharon for what they did. Now he's going to deal with the people for constantly bickering, constantly complaining. Read on, please. Watch what he does.
The Most High sent Seraph, serpents against the people. They bit the people, and many of the Israelites died. Oh, my computer's froze.
Yours froze too?
Yeah. Okay.
Man, I think this is a conspiracy, man, because mine been frozen for a minute. I could swear this is a conspiracy. All right.
Oh,
well, they can hear us. So let's move on. Is your are you able to read still or no?
Okay, I could pull up my other
All right, I'll read when you get ready, you let me know, okay?
Okay, I'm ready now.
All right.
Number 21-7, right?
Yes.
6 says, and the Most High sent fiery serpents among the people, and they bit the people, and much people of Israel died. 7. Therefore the people came to Moshe and said, we have sinned, for we have spoken against the Most High and against thee. Pray unto the Most High that he take away the serpents from us. And Moshe prayed for the people.
Yeah, you see what just happened, family? You see what just happened? This is deep. The people sinned, they sinned, and they kept on sinning. And the Most High kept giving them what their desires were, even though they were sinning against him by speaking ill about leadership. And the more they spoke ill about leadership, the Most High just tossed it off as if it wasn't nothing. He let it ride because it was the people. He let it ride, he let it ride, he let it ride until one day he got fed up. And he started knocking them off. And then they realized that they were sinning. But up until that point, they did what they wanted to do because they saw no punishment. And as I believe it was Roche that spoke earlier, that punishment was coming. It just take a little while sometime before it gets to you. So if you spoke against leadership or you speak against leadership and you don't see the punishment right away, be patient because it's coming. It's definitely coming. The Most High can't stand people who falsely accuse those who he has anointed and put in positions of leadership. But watch what happens here, because this is the mistranslation that, or another way to view this that's taking place. Roche, are you there?
Okay, and I'm here.
All right. What I want you to do is pull your Hebrew out real quick.
All right.
And I would like for you to tell us the word that's used here for fiery serpent.
All right. Well, Let me go.
Verse 6. Verse 6.
21 and 6 or 27?
21 and 6.
All right. Oops. 21 and 6 is
What's
going
the word
to
for fiery? You know that?
Cain is going to be Hanechashim, Seraphim.
That Haseraph. Haseraph is the word for fiery. What's the word for serpent?
Nachashim.
Nakashim. And the root word of that would be Nakash.
Nachash.
Let me share something with y'all, family. You can read that day and night, and you can interpret it any way you want, but there's always another way to see this. The word here used for fiery is the word saraf. The word that they actually use in the Hebrew scripture is seraphim. Anybody know what a seraphim is? Somebody pull out a dictionary,
What's
please.
some type of angel?
It's an angel. It's an angel. A seraphim, you have cherubims, you have seraphim. There are two different types of angels that the Most High have in the heavenly order, who does things at his beckoning, at his call, at his will. Angels are always wrapped in fire. The word Ashes, fire, right? One time an angel came down on the earth, and that angel spoke to a man named Manoah, and then stepped into the flame and was consumed back into the heavens with the Almighty. One time a man named Abram had made a covenant with the Creator and laid down in the midst of all the sacrifices that he laid down on the ground and fell asleep. And when he was asleep, the Most High gave him a vision. But also while he was asleep, a fire came from the heavens and consumed all of the sacrifices that Abram had placed on the ground. Angels are synonymous with fire. Fire is synonymous with angel. What am I saying? I'm about to give you something. Hopefully you can accept it. Not angels, but fire has an existence of its own. It doesn't just exist in this order that we are in right now. It exists in the heavenly order. Fire is controlled by a spirit. Fire. Here we have the Most High sent. That means that something came from somewhere. This particular thing that was sent was seraphim, angels. And then the next word that they have, they say that word is serpents. But Nakash doesn't mean serpents. Nakash means enchantment. Something that a lot of people might call magic or sorcery. But we know that the Most High don't deal with those things. But on a higher level, it's an element of power that is unknown by most people. So in essence, what we really have here is an angel of the Most High using enchantment to kill the people. The translation says a fiery serpent among the people. They can translate it any way they want, but on the deeper surface, that's exactly what it says. What it says exactly is angels that did enchantment, what we will call magic, sorcery, but not in the dark side, not by going through the back door, but yet by coming through the front door. They're working something powerful in the spirit realm to kill the people. I always taught people, the family, that angels and demons are the same. They're one and the same. It's just what their purpose are in this world, in this existence. And it is to whom they come into, how you interpreted it. Here, the scriptures make it clear. The seraphim use enchantment among the people, And they bit the people so that many of the people of Israel were moot. They died. But the translator puts it in a way, because even the translators don't understand sometimes. Not our people, but those people who translated it. They don't have the spiritual discernment as the Most High gave to us, his people. The angels. They use enchantment. And they dealt with the people and gave the people what they needed so that they would die. And the people came to Moshe and said, after the people began to die, they said, we have sinned. They acknowledged that they sinned. Why did they say we sinned? For we have spoken against the Most High and against you. They're acknowledging that. But it wasn't until after they began to fall that they sat back, reevaluated, became frightened, and didn't want to die. That they confessed their sins before the Almighty. A lot of people think the Most High ain't going to take your life for sinning against him and his servants. So they do it freely. But they have to understand that every time they do these things, they're placing their lives in their own hands. That's what they're doing. Because the Most High will take you out for speaking against his servants. So after they did that, for we have spoken against the Most High and against you. Then they asked him, pray to the Most High that he take away these serpents or this enchantment from us. Just like the Creator told Job, the men that was with Job, he said, go ask Job to pray for him, for y'all, because him I will hear. The people acknowledged that here in this portion, and they asked the Most High, they asked Moshe themselves to pray. Why they couldn't go to the Most High themselves, family? Because they were sinners, as my brother just so eloquently said. They were sinners. They sinned frequently, constantly, without any desire to do righteously, until they got knocked upside their head and started falling off. Over and over and over, I kept showing you different instances where they was being disrespectful to the leadership. The Most High would ignore it and let them live. They was disrespectful to the leadership. Most High would ignore it and let them live. Until the Most High finally said, I had enough. Some of y'all gonna die. Y'all gonna understand what it means to be disrespectful to my anointed. And some of them begin to die. But that ain't it. Some more gonna die too. Watch. Read on, bro. Let's see where we at. So Moshe prayed for the people. Verse 8, please.
And the Most High said to Moshe, make a seraph figure and mount it on a standard. And anyone who was bitten, who then looks at it, shall recover.
Now this word serpent is no longer nakash, but this word serpent is seraphim or sephar, meaning seraphim. And set it on a pole. That seraph was a form of an angel. Seraphims are angels. But they have you believing that it's another fiery serpent that's being placed, and that ain't what it is. It's a seraphim. It's an image of an angel. And set it on the pole. Nobody's to worship it. Nobody's to prostrate themselves to it. All they had to do was look on it and be healed. That's how powerful the spirit realm is. All they had to do was look on it, and they were healed. Well, let's see. Read on, please. Verse 8.
Verse 8. Most High said to Moshe, make a seraph figure and mount it on a standard. And anyone who was bitten, who then looks at it, shall recover. Moshe made a copper serpent and mounted it on a standard. And when bitten by a serpent, anyone who looked at the copper serpent will recover.
Now let's back up.
The Israelites marched.
Let's back up. So Moshe made a bronze nekeshet, a bronze nakash, enchantment. Moshe spoke something. He made something and gave it life and set it on a pole, a nas. Nas is another word in Hebrew for what, Rosh? You know?
No.
Look that up for me, please. Make sure I'm spelling it the same way. A nas means miracle. So Moshe actually performed a miracle right here, is what it's saying. Nas is the Hebrew word for miracle.
Okay.
He took that.
Noon
Rosh,
summit. Noon
is
summit.
it correct?
Nas miracle.
Yeah.
Or
He took that bronze serpent, the bronze enchantment, Nakash is there, the enchantment, and set it for a miracle. What was the miracle? The miracle was that if this enchantment had actually bit somebody, anyone, if he looked upon it, Nabat, if he looked upon it, he was healed. That's deep. See, this is sometimes the scriptures say things without us doing research and studying. We don't understand the full value of what's being presented here to us. Moshe actually did a miracle. He saved people's lives. He brought. I'm trying to wonder, because when I read this, it's not sure. I'm not sure if he brought people back to life, because it says, and if a serpent, I'm gonna read it in English, and if a serpent bit anyone, he would look at the bronze serpent and live. So I'm not sure if the dead came back to life, or if the live people looked at it before they died, then they was healed. But I do know that the word was nas, means a miracle was being done here, a miracle of enchantment. Moshe had learned the secret arts of the spirit world from the Most High. This is why the Most High says that Moshe is allowed in all of my houses, because he taught Moshe secret things that the average Israelite did not know. That's why Moshe was above the priesthood in ranking and authority, because of the knowledge that he obtained. The Most High said that he would make Moshe a Elohim. All that means is that he gave him his full knowledge of who he already was. He enlightened him. Moshe stood on a rock, put his hands up to the heavens, and the ocean split and dry land appeared. If that ain't the power of an Elohim, what is it? What is it? Nobody else has ever done anything even close to that, remotely, other than Joshua causing the water to turn to dry land so that the family can walk across it. But when you read the history of all these other nations around us, the people that they call to be prophets, all they get to do is predict things. Well, this is going to happen on this day. That's going to happen on that day. Not to take anything from them, because that's a major task. But yet, the prophets of the children of Israel, they had power that was beyond human understanding. And the reason why is because we're not like the rest of the nations. We are Elohim. They are man, Adam. We are Elohim. They are Adam. And I pray that you understand that. But we're going to die like Adam because of all the sins and transgressions that we do in this lifetime. May the Most High be praised and may the Most High be glorified. Brother Roche, could you continue on, please?
Verse 10. The Israelites marched on and encamped at Aboth. They set out from Aboth and encamped at Abarim in the wilderness, bordering on Moab to the east. From there, they set out and encamped at the Wadi Zered. 13. From there, they set out and encamped beyond the Arnon, that is, in the wilderness that extends from the territory of the Amorites, For the Arnon is the boundary of Moab, between Moab and the Amorites. Therefore, the book of the wars of the Most High speaks of Waheb and Supah and the Wadis, the Arnon, with its tributary Wadis stretched along the settled country of Ar, hugging the territory of Moab. And from there to Beer, which is the well where the Most High said to Moshe, assemble the people that I may give them water. 17. Then Yisrael sang this song, spring up, O well, sing to it. The well which the chieftains dug, which the nobles of the people started, with maces with their own staffs, and from Midbar to the Matana, and from Matana to the Nahaliel, and from Nahal, and from the most valley that is in the country of Moab, at the peak of Pisgah. Israel now sent messengers to Sihon, king of the Amorites, saying, let me pass through your country. We will not turn off into fields or vineyards, and we will not drink water.
Same thing they said to Edom, but Edom denied them. Read on, please.
We will not drink water from wells. We will follow the king's highway until we pass across your territory. 23. But Sihon would not let Israel pass through his territory. Sihon gathered all his troops and went out against Israel in the wilderness. He came to Jahaz and engaged Israel in battle.
Why do you want to do that? Why do you challenge the Most High and his people? The renown of the Most High had went out throughout all the earth. Everybody knew the power we served. What would make somebody to look at the life of Israel and challenge Israel to a fight to death? That's a mistake. Because if Israel's on the right side of the Most High, he ain't going to do nothing but give them a victory. And right here, this Canaanite nation is about to discover that. And a couple more after them are going to discover the same thing. The Most High, family, I'm going to show you why we're on the right side of the Most High. He had just cleansed out the rebels, the disrespectful people. He just cleansed them out. All of those who were sinning against him, he cleansed them out. They died. And those who had a contrite heart, a change of spirit, had came to the Most High and asked him for forgiveness and mercy. And he granted it. Therefore, their sins, all that they did was removed from them at that time. So that means we're starting off perfect. There's a man who speaks about us in the book of Numbers. We're getting ready to get up on that in a minute. And his name is, what's that prophet's name? Balaam. Balaam is going to speak about what he just saw. Balaam is going to see a lot of these wars taking place. And he's going to see how the Most High is favoring us. He's going to say things like a star has shot out of Israel, talking about that anointed one. And how the Most High is going to fight the battles for the children of Israel and destroy all of their enemies. And that's what he's talking about. All this stuff right here that's taking place right now. These wars that we get ready to fight, when we're on the good side of the Most High, he causes all of our enemies to be our footstool. And we get to step on top of them. Read on and watch and see what's happening, family. Watch this.
24. But Israel put them to the sword and took possession of their land from the Arnon to the Jabbok, as far as Oz of the Ammonites.
Every nation that we put to the sword and we conquer, that makes us even that much more richer. Because all the wealth of that nation we put in our pockets and we take it with us. So we're growing in wealth, in stability. We're growing financially as we go through all these nations and sack them. We didn't start fights with these people, but we sure did finish them. Read on, please.
As far as Oz of the Ammonites, verse 24. For Oz marked the boundary of the Ammonites. 25. Israel took all those towns. Israel settled in all the towns of the Amorites, in Heshbon and all its dependencies. Now Heshbon was the city of the Sihon, king of the Amorites, who had fought against a former king of Moab and taken all his land from him as far as the Arnon. Therefore, the bars would recite, "Come to Heshbon, firmly built and well founded, is Sihon's city. For fire went forth from Heshbon, flame from Sihon's city, consuming Ar of Moab, and the Most High's behemoth by the Arnon." 29. Woe to you, O Moab! You are undone, a people of Chemosh. His sons are rendered fugitive and his daughters captive by an Amorite king, Sihon. Yet we have cast them down utterly, Heshbon, along with the Dibon. We have wrought desolation of Nophah, which is hard by Medeba. So Yisrael occupied the land of the Amorites. Then Moshe sent to spy out Jazer, and they captured its dependencies and dispossessed the Amorites who was there. They marched on and went up the road to Bashan, and King Og of Bashan, with all his troops, came out to Edrei to engage them in battle. But the Most High said to Moshe, "Do not fear him, for I give him and all his troops and his land into your hand. You should do to them as you did to Sihon, king of the Amorites, who dwelt in Heshbon." 35. They defeated him and his sons and all his troops until no remnant was left him, and they took possession of his country.
Now remember, all these people that we're destroying, all these different nations, is allowing us to grow wealthier and wealthier. We're going to stop there. We're going to pick up on 22 next week, Creator willing. But we're going to stop there for now. This was a great reading, family. Great message and great learnings. I pray that the Most High has blessed you to be increased in your knowledge and understanding of the history of our great people, our forefathers. But in the midst of all this, you have learned something that can help you to draw closer to the Creator. And you've learned some of the systems of mystery speaking that takes place in the scriptures as well. There's some things that was brought out today, I'm sure, that you weren't aware of. So we're going to take our time and we're going to do a little bit of questioning and answering if there are any questions, and we're going to see if we can give any answers. Anyone? Are there any questions or comments?
No questions on my end.
All right. So there's no questions or comments. How about we talk, family? Would you like to share with us some of the things that you got out of the lesson today? Yes, that scenario, Sis asks a question. That scenario is where they got the symbol for medication from. The healing. There's a name for that symbol. But that symbol is old. It's an old ancient symbol. And that symbol also deals with pharmacia. Pharmacia deals with pharmacy, and pharmacy deals with magic. Pharmacia, I believe, is the Latin word for magic. So even in that, it just caused me to see that. Even in that, we're dealing with the Nakash, as we just brought out. That seraphim, and then the word serpent, the fiery serpent, seraphim Nakash, is dealing with mysticism. It's dealing with a healing. That same healing can also cause death, because originally it caused death and then it brought about healing. But they use it in the English as a serpent on a bronze staff. And in the underworld, in that world there, a lot of people have that symbol. It's a symbol of a woman that almost looked like a Baphomet with a staff, with the serpent intertwining her body and intertwining the staff. Two serpents, actually. The Kundalini, knows the crown. There's a name for that, and I can't remember the name for it. Does anyone know that name? I can't remember the name right now. But yes, this is from the scriptures, from the translation of the scriptures. That's where they got that symbol from. The modern day users of the symbol. But the symbol is an ancient symbol as well. In sorcery and magic and all those things. All right? Are there any other questions or comments, family? Or would you like to talk to us and tell us how we've affected your learning and your understanding on this subject? All right. Caduceus. I'm not familiar with that one, sis. I'm not familiar with that name. She says, the Caduceus. I'm not familiar with that name. There's another name that I'm familiar with, and I just can't think of it right now. There's another name for it. The Kundalini, isn't it? Kundalini? Okay. No. Okay. All right. I'm not so sure. All right. So was there anyone else who wanted to discuss or talk about the message or the lessons that they got out of the messages today? If there isn't, we can close out our class, call it a wrap. I know there's a slight delay, so I try to give you all a few minutes. But if you're not, then it's cool. We can close it out. A lot of people gone anyway, because the Shabbat been over about a half hour, 45 minutes ago in most states in America. And you know, we when that Shabbat is out, we out. We like to hit the streets. But I pray that all that changes in the very near future for the people. We're going to close out with prayer. Give us a second, please. Most High, great King, we honor you. We come unto you at this time, Father, asking for permission to approach unto your throne. Thank you, O wonderful King, for being so merciful unto us, for helping and healing us and showing unto us the way that we too may acquire eternal life, that we too may serve you in righteousness, truth, justice, and peace with a clear spirit, knowing that we're doing the very best that we can possibly do to walk in accordance with your laws, your statutes, and your commands for our lives. There are many differences in the minds of us that cause us to walk contrary to each other. But Father, if it is your will, please reach into our minds and allow us to come to you on one accord. Allow us to humble ourselves enough to disregard those things that are not pleasing and acceptable in your sight with all the doctrines that we have from man. Help us to separate from these doctrines and pull closer to your truth, shedding off all the teachings of man and learning to worship you according to what is written that you left on record or what you revealed to your anointed. Help us, O Most High. Forgive us, O Most High, and allow us to please you, O Most High. for you are truly worthy of all praise. And there isn't another that can compare unto thee. From the heavens above to the earth beneath, to the waters underneath of the earth, your power, your might, your glory reigns supreme. Unto thee, O great King, we pray now and forevermore. Toda Abi. Abi. Toda Rabah. Thank you. All right, family. Thank you all for coming out. Thank you all for spending your evening with us, your Shabbat day with us. We really appreciate the cooperation and the participation that you all have given. We do ask that you would like, subscribe, and share the page, the lessons, the videos, that people may begin to hear, learn, and understand the truth of the Most High. What's that right there? I wonder if Moshe would have asked for more time if it would have been granted, or if he was just so fed up and tired of them that he'd rather die. That's probably what it was. Because, you know, the people of the Most High can cause a real big problem to you. Torah for a great lesson. Antidote. No, it wasn't antidote. It's another, I think it's a Kujilini. I think it's a Kujilini, but I'm not sure. Antidote. No, it wasn't antidote. I think it was a Kujilini. The serpent, the staff with the serpent on it, the two serpents that's twined around it, that's going up, the symbol of medicine. I think it's called a Kujilini. I believe that's what it's called, but I'm not sure. All right. But again, thank you all for coming out. May the Most High be pleased, praised, and honored in your sight forever. All praise to the Most High King from everlasting to everlasting, for he is great. Toda Rabbah. Shabbat Shalom Lakem. Please share and like, and create a willing. We'll see you all next Shabbat.